Hi, today's video will be on how to configure firewall rules using various techniques and best practices for configuring them. So if you can see in front of you, we've got the Smart Dashboard console open, and if we go to the Firewall tab, this is the area where you'd configure the policy rules. If you can see on the left hand side, I've created some objects. Here's the network objects for DMZ, the external network and the local area network. I've also created an address range, and how you'd create all these is by right clicking, going to network and specifying network details here and specifying your NAT details if this was required as well. Same for address range, so you'd right click that, address range, and specify your first IP address, last IP address, and specify NAT details as well if that was required. So we'll be using these very shortly in the policy rules themselves. As you can see in front of you, there are no explicit rules by default, so there's no firewall policy rules here. And so no traffic will be allowed to go to the gateway itself or through the gateway. However, you may be wondering why we are then able to access the firewall. Well, there are implicit rules that come with the firewall by default and can be accessed and configured if required in the global properties. So if we go to policy, global properties, and the firewall section is selected, you can see the firewall implied rules, and these are sort of management connections and control connections that are required. So Checkpoint have recommended you kind of leave these by default, but you can configure these if required. And in particular, I've ticked the accept ICMP request so we can ping the firewall gateway. This one is to accept web and SSH connections for gateways administration. So we can test the web. If we hit cancel on here, we open up Mozilla Firefox. And go to the external IP address of the firewall because I'm coming from the external side, and we can log into Guy Portal. Now Guy Portal is used for setting up network management features, system management, routing, maintenance, and quite a few other features, but we'll cover this in another video. So I'll cross this off and we come back to the firewall rule area. So the first one we're going to be configuring is called the stealth rule, and the stealth rule is used to prevent unauthorized type of attempts to connect to the gateway itself. So no one can access the gateway itself, and it prevents sort of malicious attacks and attempts of attempted connection to the gateway. So what we can do is create our first rule. So if we hit policy rules, add rule at the top, and you see the first rule. We'll give it a name and we'll call it stealth. Okay, and the source will be anyone. Destination will be the firewall. So if we drag the firewall to here, there's the firewall. The services will be any, so no one can connect via any service, and the action will be drop, and we will log this type of traffic as well. The other thing we want to do is specify a section title above this. So add section title above, and we'll call the section title stealth. This section title is used to organize your rules. So you can see section titles. So this one is called stealth. We'll have another one very shortly for outbound traffic. And in outbound traffic, you'll have all your rules that are going outbound, such as your local users going to the web, or your local admins using FTP, etc. So the first rule is in place, and we'll configure the second rule now. So the second rule will be the management traffic. So although the stealth rule is here, it's blocking us from accessing the gateway. It's not taking effect yet because we haven't installed the policy onto the gateway itself. But if we did, we'd be blocked from accessing the gateway itself. So if we right click here and go to add rule and select above, the reason why you'd have to specify above is because of the way firewalls work. It's top to bottom, so the top rules hit first, and then the next one, and the next one, and so on. So for us to access the gateway, it has to be before the stealth rule, because if the stealth rule was hit first, then we'd never be able to access the firewall. So the management rule has to be above the stealth rule. So we'll call this management underscore traffic. And the source will be usually it'll be just your admin PCs or your admin PC range or something. So we'll put in admin PC range. Just for this video, I'm going to put the external network in. That this is specifically because I'm connecting from the external network side. I've been a bit lazy. I should have created one before just for my specific host and included that in, but I'm going to include the network, the external network ranging, so I can access the gateway as well. And so it's a management rule. So the destination will be the firewall gateway, and we'll specify the services. So the services I want to include are ICMP, which is there, HTTP, or we'll just include HTTPS, which is this one, and SSH, which is around here somewhere. Okay, so we'll include SH version 2. And that's it really. So those three are more than adequate for now. And we want to right click, accept it, and we want to log the traffic. So that's done. That's actually in the wrong place, that section title. So what we'll do is delete that. And we'll create the section title above the stealth rule. Create a separate section title for the management rule. Just call it management. Okay, so we've got the management rule in place, and we've got the stealth rule in place. Now we'll create rules for our local users. So right click here and add rule, and we'll add a rule below the stealth rule. The first rule we will add, we'll call it FTP underscore admin, and this is for so admin PCs can access FTP services anywhere. So the source will be the admin IP range, the destination will be anywhere, and the service will just specify the FTP service, and we'll specify accept for the action and log. Just above this, add a section title, call it something like LAN underscore outbound underscore traffic, or internet traffic, or anything sort of similar, so you can recognize what the type of rules are for. The next rule we'll create is web access rule, so users can access the web. Okay, and the source will be the local area network. The destination will be anywhere. The services will be, just to shorten this video, it will be HTTP and HTTPS, but I'll just put in HTTP and I'll put in DNS. So it should be HTTP, HTTPS and DNS. but because I'm being a bit lazy, I'll put in HTTP and I'll put in the DNS service, and we'll leave it at that for now. Probably gone past DNS. Okay, and that should be accepted and logged. So the next rule is so local users can ping anywhere. The reason why I want to show you this specific rule is to show you a special function called negate. So what we want to do is we want to allow local users to ping anything other than the firewall itself, and that may be for security reasons. We don't want them to ping the gateway. We want to hide the gateway, so we don't want local users to know the gateway is there. And so what we want to do is give this a rule name, call it just call it ping, and the source will be the LAN, the destination will be we're going to put the gateway in here, and I'll come back to this very shortly. The service will be ICMP requests, the action will be accept, and we'll log this type of traffic. So if we right click the gateway and we select the negate cell, now what this rule is saying is the local network is allowed to access via ICMP anywhere other than the gateway itself. Okay, so we can actually test this. So at the moment the rules are not installed, so what we can do is open up the virtual host and go to command prompt, and if we do an IP config, we can see we're on the IP address 10.10.0.15, which is the local area network side, and what we want to do is ping the gateway itself. So that's the internal interface of the gateway, and we can ping it just fine. And if we ping the external interface of the gateway as well, just to see if that works as well, which it does. Okay, good stuff. And we can, just for completeness, let's ping the default gateway of the firewall. Okay, so we can ping everything, that's fine. What we can do now is install the policy. So first we will save it. Now if we go to policy, and once we install the policy, these rules can do is again ping the gateway, and we shouldn't be able to ping it, but we should be able to ping the default gateway of the firewall, but not the firewall itself. Okay, so we'll install the policy. Okay, so the policy has been installed, so we can close this. Just then I actually paused the video, and there's a couple of reasons why. The first reason is the policy takes a minute to install, so rather than wasting a minute waiting, I thought I'd pause the video. The second reason is I wanted to open up the network to show you what the network looks like as well. So this is the network, and in the middle is the firewall. If you can see here, this is the local area network. This is the DMZ, and this is the external network. So the local area network is 10.10.0.10. The external interface of the firewall is 192.168.0.10. The default gateway is 192.168.0.1. So earlier we pinged 10.10.0.10. We could ping that. we ping the external interface of the gateway, and we ping the default gateway of the gateway itself. So that all worked, and what we can do now is, because the policy has been installed and we should not be able to ping the gateway itself, but we should be able to ping the default gateway of the firewall. So if we go back into the VMware host, and we try and ping the default gateway, which works fine. If we ping the external interface of the gateway, and we can't ping it anymore. So I'll just cancel that, and if we ping the internal interface of the gateway, and we can't ping that anymore as well. So that works absolutely fine. Okay, so if we're going back into Smart Dashboard, again we can create further section titles. So I won't create the actual rules, but we can create section titles, for example, for DMZ. So DMZ underscore inbound underscore traffic, and then you can create your rules here. We can have another section title for DMZ underscore outbound traffic, and etc. So you can create these down here. The one rule in particular which I've forgot to mention, actually there's a few more rules. The next one is the drop noise traffic. So if we right click and we go add rule below, we create a section title, drop noisy traffic. Let's put some underscores in between here. I'm not sure if it works without underscores actually. Let's give it a go. It works absolutely fine. So drop noisy traffic, and in here we'll call this, the rule name itself, drop noisy traffic. Okay, so this rule is therefore because there are common types of traffic known as Chatty protocols, which basically make a lot of noise on the network. So it's a very good idea to drop this kind of traffic without applying any logging, which will reduce the log growth. If you leave these Chatty protocols to fill up your logs will fill up very, very quickly. So it's a very good idea to create a rule for this and not to log the traffic. So the rule will be from anywhere to anywhere. The services will be the Chatty protocols. The common services are NBT, BootP, BootPS, MDNS is another one, SLP, UPnP, SSDP. So if you Google it, you can find out what the common Chatty protocols are, and you want to block these if you're not using these in your local area network. The common ones such as NBT and NetBIOS are rarely used, so it's usually a good idea to block these services. So to save time, the service I'll add is BootP, and the other ones you'll either have to just find them in here, or you can create custom services as well. By the way, custom services are created over here. Okay, so the next rule, which will be the final rule actually, will be the denial rule. So what we'll do for now is delete this section title, the DMZ one, and add a denial rule. So add rule below, give it a name of deny all. Okay, so source will be any, destination will be any, the action will be drop, the service will be any, and we want to specifically log this traffic. Give it a section title of deny all. And the checkpoint gateway itself does have a implicit denial rule, but this one we've put in place because this one does the logging functionality, where the implicit one does not log, it just drops the traffic. So we may want to log the traffic because we may have a compliance reasons or legal reasons, and we may also be sending these logs to an SIM service for log management, or even for the intelligence of event management. Okay, so we've got all the general sort of firewall rules in place with their section titles. We can do a policy install. Actually, before we install it, we'd want to save it, and then we'd hit the policy button, install it, and press OK here, and it'll go with our policies required gateway. While that's taking place, I'd like to just some best practices for firewall rules. I'll just move this to one corner. And the first one is rules should be specific as possible. So the source, destination, and services in particular should be very specific. So you should narrow these down to the minimum requirements, minimum services, very specific sources and destinations, to tighten up your security policy as much as possible. The next one should be at the top. This is because firewall policies are from top to bottom. A very large firewall policy, it would take a while to hit the rule at the very bottom. So if that's a very common rule, it would slow things down. So for example, here I've got the FTP admin, so admins can access FTP service. I've also got web access, where users can access the web. Now, users will probably access the web a lot more than the admins accessing the FTP service. So if this rule, for example, these two rules, they're only one apart from each other, but if there were 400, 500, 600 rules apart, it would be a good idea to kind of switch roles if that was possible. So in this situation, what we can do is just move access, drag it up to web access above the FTP admin rule, or drag this one down. Where's it gone? I've kind of messed that up a little bit. Okay, so there you go. So web access is now above the FTP admin rule. Okay, so the policies come back as installation completed successfully as well. Let's close this. And the next tip is to segment the rules with as many section titles where it makes sense, like we have done now. And you can also minimize these section titles, so you can just see the section titles you want to see. The next one is to provide a rule name for every single rule. So these rule names, so something that would make sense to you, so you are able to identify the rule. And the next one is to specify a comment for your rule and make it as thorough as possible. So if the checkpoint engineer left, the new checkpoint engineer would be able to pick up the policy rule very easily, because it would be very well organized, and you'd have rule names as well as comments filled out. So for example, for FTP admin, we can have something like this rule was implemented because admin wanted access to FTP service. This rule should be reviewed every 6 months. So that's just an example. I mean, you can get a bit more specific than that or whatever. So if I hit OK, that's filled that section out for us. Okay, the next tip is to use secure protocols. So in one of my examples, I've used FTP, which is not secure. Other protocols such as SSH instead of Telnet, LDAP-S instead of LDAP. So you should always ensure using secure protocols, so the services, the protocols can't be sniffed, or the traffic can't be sniffed. And the next tip is to color code your objects. So if you see on the left hand side, I've color coded my objects. So my local area network is green, my DMZ is yellow, and my external network is red. Also for address range, the admin PCs, which is the local network, is green. So if I double click one of these, it's just here. You can create your own colors. You can also manage it and create bring further colors into the palette as well. And same goes for these objects. Okay. The next one is to do a revision control every time you push the policy out. So when you push a policy out to a gateway, you do policy install, you could hit this button and it'll create the database version revision control. So if you make a mistake, you push policy out and the rules have messed up your network and something's not quite working, you can revert to the original revision control. You can also, without having to mess about with installing the policy from here, you could just create the revision control from this option here. And here's all your revision controls if you wanted to revert back to one of them. I haven't got any, but you'd have them here. You can create them from here as well. So you've asked to create a revision control, you must save changes to this session, and we'll cancel out of that for now. The next tip I wanted to show you is the search functionality, which is quite good. So we can query rules. If we have thousands of rules, we can go to this utility. We can specify rules by hit counts. I haven't spoken about hit counts, but hit count is you can see how many times the rule has been hit, so it gives you a rough estimate. So you could search by hit counts, low, medium, high, very high hits. You can search rule based on source, the source addresses. You can specify the objects from here, destination, the VPN community object, by specific services, actions, whether it were deny, drop, reject, encrypt, or what firewall, what gateway was it installed on. You can also negate as well, so you could say I want to see all the firewall policies for services excluding HTTP service, for example, or something like that, and it will show you all the rules excluding the HTTP services, the rules which have the HTTP service specified. Okay, and then you select it, add it, and then you apply the filter and it will specify the rules for you. Okay, so I think we're done here. We've pretty much covered everything in terms of rule base. Just the very last thing I'd like to say is my next video will be on site-to-site VPNs, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Thank you.